Alright, so Dead by Daylight has officially shared some stats again. It's been a while since they've done it the last time. I think it was September of last year. And we'll just hop right in. We got our most popular survivor perks. Starting off, here's the update to the 10 most popular perks for each role. The percentage listed next to each perk indicates their usage rate. In other words, the likelihood that someone will have it in their loadout. Arrows indicate if the perk has moved up or down the list since we last shared the stats, while a line shows that they remain in the same spot. Of course, Crutches of Opportunity is still number one. Not really surprising. Adrenaline 2, of course, not surprising. Lithe being number 3 is actually kind of surprising, and it's gone up. I'm not really too big of a fan of Lithe. I mean, it's not bad, but Sprint Burst is always number 1 in my opinion because it's guaranteed value no matter what. And if you have a Sprint Burst ready to go, you can avoid a hit for sure and make it to a tile for sure. You know what I mean? A lot of times with Lithe, you can get hit while you're trying to activate Lithe. Resilience, the same. Deja Vu. Everything else is pretty standard. Of course, the 45-second self-care, number 6. That's got to be because the new people, I'm assuming. Got to make this like a 50-minute self-heal, and maybe it'll go down to the 8th spot. Dead Hard is actually making a resurgence, which is crazy, and unfortunate for me because you can't fake a hatchet. You know, the amount of times lately where I throw a hatchet and they dead hard my hatchet is like, it's just like, man, who's using Dead Hard? Cut it out. But yeah. Then for killer perks, again, it's pretty much standard. Not too much has changed. Pop, Pain Res, Sloppy, all up. Of course, Surge is down a little bit. Corrupt has gone up, of course. Save the Best for Last surprisingly hasn't gone down, but oh wait, yeah, this is before the nerf, so of course it's still up. Barbecue and Chili down, Noed up, Lethal down, and Bam up. So yeah, kind of what you'd expect. Nothing crazy there. Nothing crazy. Kind of pretty much standard. Then we have our popular killers. Like perks, we also tallied up 10 most popular killers over the past month. The number below represents the percentage of all matches where that given killer was played, with the arrows and lines again indicating how they changed in popularity since we last shared the data. So of course, Chucky's number 7, so of course Chucky's number 1. He came out literally December, and this is December to January pick rate. So of course he's there. Huntress, obviously the only free ranged killer, so she's probably gonna be permanently like top 3. That's pretty much how she goes. Wraith, Legion, and Wesker. Wesker's actually fallen down quite a bit, and Legion's actually surpassed him. Dude, Wesker's been like, he's still top 5, but he was like top 3 for like a year straight. And I don't know where Wraith come. I don't remember Wraith being ever that popular. And so same with Legion. Legion kind of skyrocketed. Then you got Trapper at 6, Mikey at 7, Nurse at 8, Blight at 9, and Ghostface at 10. So kind of some interesting ones. I really didn't expect Ghostface and Wraith to be up here. I really don't remember September killer pick rates, but yeah. I usually go off of Nightlight GG, and they do it like every single month, so kind of skewing the data in my head. And then of course you have all the other killers. Twins being at 1%, Doctor at 4%, and so on. Then of course we got the deadliest killers. The numbers below are the percentage of all survivors who are killed when facing that killer. For example, a 50% kill rate would mean that they kill 2 survivors per match on average. We try to keep killers near a 60% kill rate on average to keep matches relatively even and support the horror theme of the game, where the killer is a force to be reckoned with and survival is not guaranteed. Obviously, for some reason, that's a very controversial opinion for a lot of people in this game. A lot of people feel like killers really shouldn't be able to kill. You know, they think it should be exactly 50-50, which I don't think is the case. It's a horror game after all. The whole game's based around these horror icons, and I honestly think they should have. I fully agree with Dead by Daylight. I think it should be higher than the 60% kill rate, to be honest. Like Friday the 13th had like a 90% kill rate, but I always had fun as Survivor in that game, so. We'd like to remind you this data covers millions of matches across all skill levels. Some kills may be stronger when mastered, but less powerful in the hands of someone less experienced. Obviously in reference to Nurse, because Nurse isn't up here, even though she would have the highest kill rate if we're looking at good nurses only. Kill rates do not include the match where a disconnect takes place. So obviously Skull Merchant's up here, and probably Sadako from people killing themselves on hook. Same with Pinhead, I would assume. All the other killers, I don't think. I mean, maybe Wesker, people are killing themselves against him, but these top 3 are definitely people just killing themselves on hook. I know I've killed myself on hook a couple times against Skull Merchant, a couple times against the Onryo, maybe once against Pinhead in the past couple months, but not really. Just because but then again, Sadako and her, but also Sadako's up here because of her condemned playstyle, which was just an absolute pain in the ass to deal with, so. But she did get a rework recently, so it's not that surprising. And then outside of the top 10, we have Executioner at 60%. And then all the way at the bottom, we have the Doctor at 51. The overall average is 58.50. And of course, we have the Huntress. My Pookie Bear is at 56%. So we need to boost those numbers up to 60%. She's always in the bottom 5 of all time. And like every single month you ever look at her, she's always in the bottom 5. For a while, she was in the bottom 3. It was usually her, Trickster, and like, oh man, who was it most often? Her, Trickster, and Hag were usually the lowest of the low, pretty much consistently. But Trickster got his buff, so now he's all the way up to 57%. And yeah. And then survival rate in groups. This one's kind of interesting, and I'm a little... It's not like I'm skeptical of it, but people say Swifts are really strong, and I think they're really strong. I can tell when I'm getting put against a Swift, but according to this, it really doesn't seem like it. So survival rate in groups, last but certainly not least, many of you were curious about a survivor's odds of escaping depending on if they're flying solo or playing with friends. In this case, a higher survival rate would mean that a survivor is escaping more. We've also included the survival rates for high MMR survivors as well for those who are curious. One last time, we'd like to remind you that these numbers do not paint a full picture. For instance, a group of friends may be more coordinated, but they might also be more willing to sacrifice themselves in an attempt to save their friends. Let's double back to the kill rates real quick. What was I going to say? Oh, unfortunately, this time, the kill rate list is only all MMR. Last time, they did all MMR, and then they did top 5% MMR, which I think painted a much better picture for the kill rates of some people. Because, like, you got Pinhead up here at 63%, but obviously in top MMR. So you got Freddy up here in... as one of the killers with the highest kill rates. He's the 4th deadliest killer in the game. But this is all MMRs. Last September when they did this, it was all MMRs and then top 5% MMR. And you can see Freddy was was super deadly in all MMRs, but when you went to top 5% MMR, he was all the way at the bottom. So that's why I kind of wish they had the, you know, all MMR and then the top 5% MMR, because that would change things a lot. Like Huntress she's still in the bottom 5 overall, but in top 5%, I think she's bottom 3, if I remember right. According to Nightlight GG, that's the website I use for most of my stats. Alright, now we're back to the survival rates. Alright, so solo escapes, 40.34%. Duos, 40.10%. A trio, 40.56%. And a full out Swift, 43.09%. And I could actually agree with this, like from firsthand experience, because when we have all 4 people in the Discord chat, we can all talk, we can all communicate, we all do pretty well. But if we're doing a trio like we often do, our 4th person could literally make or break the entirety of the team. So that makes sense why it's 1 to 2 people, not that big of a difference. 2 to 3 people, not that big of a difference. But 3 to 4 survivors in a group is a huge difference. We're talking almost 3 whole percent. And then when you're at the high MMR, you got 1 to 2 people, that's a 1% difference. 2 to 3, 2% difference. And then 3 to 4 is almost a 6% difference. So yeah, you would think the numbers would be way higher. It'd be like, oh my god, Swifts have like a 90% escape rate. But honestly, it also comes down to Swifts just wanting to have fun too, not always wanting to do the super sweaty stuff, because sometimes we'll get a 3 or 4 man stack in my friend group and we'll just bring meme perks and stuff like that. And sometimes we're trying to win, but we don't go as sweaty as we can. We're not learning the comp level like clock system, the 1-3-12 system. You know, we're not keeping constant tabs on people and stuff like that. Like sometimes we'll get snatched off gens when one of us could have told the other one that the killer was coming, but we don't really sweat that hard. But the survivors who really go all out, the survivors who really sweat, who 4-man stack, who know the comp clock system, you know, they bring all these perks that synergize. Yeah, they can get out. I mean, there's a reason why there's 1,000 escape streaks. Like, you know, there's survivors who are on a 1,500 escape streak in a row. You know, it can't be denied that if they're really wanting to sweat and they're a 4-man stack, they can make shit happen. So yeah, that does it for the stats. Let's look at the some of the comments real quick. All right, so that was it for the stats from Dead by Daylight. I don't know how often they're going to be doing these. Like I said, the last one they did was in September, and I think a lot of that data was skewed because made for this. Like, I think the Huntress's kill rate was like 49 back then. Obviously, because made for this. Even though she is a ranged killer, you know, if it's one of those small 50-50 rock loops where you can't land a hatchet at it, you could get like 10 times the amount of loops out of them. So we did see her go up to 54. But yeah, definitely interesting. I definitely like to see more, and hopefully next time they do some more, instead of just the general MMR, they do high versus low, or high versus general. That would be nice to see. But yeah, that does it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.